Okay, put together an e-bike and just constantly dealing with flat tires. So we're trying out Tannus Armor. It comes in a box, so it was all wrinkled up. So I laid it out in the sun for a day to get it nice and flat. And now we're going to take off the back tire and try it out. All right, so I'm back here out in the sun, letting these things heat up. And I noticed, with the tire size I've got, there's significant overlap. So I think I'm going to go through and cut this. I lost the instructions, but I took the tire completely off just to see and make sure I was seated evenly, with the same amount of extra, whatever this stuff is, armor on each side. So now I'm going to go through and trim it. It looks like there's a line that they say to trim on, but even that looks like that's going to be way too much. So we'll see how this goes. Okay, so this is the 26-inch version on a mountain bike tire, and this is a 26 by 195 rear tire on an e-bike, and you can see how much I trimmed off and what I left. I know that this is going to compress some, so I didn't want to make it exactly flush, but I wanted to get it pretty close. So we'll see how that turns out. If I've got to trim off more, if something's wrong, I'm sure I can, but for now, that's what I did. And I went with these small kind of scissors. It took a while, but I think I got a pretty uniform, circumference on the tire. So now we'll try this out. The other thing I noticed, there's some huge dents in the rim. I don't know if you can see that as well, but that is large. So I'm gonna take the old rubber mallet and try to smash some of these out. So this is, of course, one of these, from China e-bike hubs, and I hadn't gone through and really checked it out before I put it on the first time, but now that I'm going back through there, you can see that some spokes are just incredibly loose. I heard something rattling around, and of course found these two guys pulled out, and some are just literally not even hand tight. They're literally just rattling around in there. So I'm going to attempt to true up the wheel and tighten up the spokes. I think I'm going to put some thread lock on there too, because I got to believe they at least attempted to tighten these from the factory. But I guess I'm glad I'm doing this to come across that. All right, we'll see how that turns out. I'm sure they probably advise against this for some reason, but just trying to get it on there. I'll get these two on and then tighten them up. The other thing I noticed on this rim is right there. I think I'm going to try to just get that a little straighter. Yeah. All right, so I just kind of pried it very gently with some vice grips. And it seems to be much better. Hopefully I didn't mar the surface too much. It feels pretty smooth still. All right, so we're using the shake and bake method of getting some baby powder talcum on the inner tube to get that in there. So we're going to pull out all the stops and see if we can get these armor inserts installed. Yeah, I think all those other videos are full of baloney. You can see it is really, really difficult to compress the foam enough to get the tire to fit. So and to even get the beads started. Part of it too, I'm sure this is a newer tire, so it's not as pliable. So I've been using a heat gun to, just soften everything up. I have, you can see the talc all over. The inner tube is all talced up, and then I am trying to get it seated piece by piece, rolling the tire around back and forth to get it in there, and then throwing a zip tie on to hold it in place. So I don't know if this is actually going to work. I mean, it feels like it'll work where it is seated, but the rest of the tire just, I don't know. We'll see. All right. Bike tire liner trick number 1. Hold it in place with zip ties once you get the bead seated. So you can get those armor things installed. Eureka, you can do it. All right, so that was considerably more difficult than I thought. This is the 26-inch rear wheel. It was hard really getting the bead seated. I think I've got some video of that on the second bead, so I got that in. And then I wanted to note that I did actually go down a size in the tube. I thought since it was, I don't know what it says, like 26, 175 to 225, I figured I could just use a 175, 1.9, whatever this inner tube is, and instead I wound up getting the 1 3/8 inch, 26-inch inner tube. So let's see how that works once we get this inflated. This tire is like hard as a rock now too, with that compressed foam in there. I would have no problem riding this with a flat inner tube because it is super hard. I'm assuming that it's gonna, get more compressed over time. We'll see. Just remembered I was making a video on this Tannus Armor I'm going to put on the rear tire here. It has gone, I don't even know, a couple hundred miles now since I put it in there, no flats. And, the pressure is good. My son actually rode it right off the bat without any air in there. So it can definitely, run with minimal inflation. I think it does compress some over time. So I sometimes let the air out, let the foam re-expand. But yeah, really, really happy with the tires so far. Just had a problem with the battery. So I'm going to have to rebuild the battery. I'll probably do a video on that. Not sure what's going on, but like I said, this Tannus Armor, this has been rock solid, performed, much better probably than I thought it would, even given it was really, really difficult to get on. I think there's probably some things could have done in retrospect to make it a little bit easier. Probably should have bought a bigger tire right off the bat. I think that would have helped a little bit, but in any event, it worked, and we'll do it. All right, good luck. Bye.